What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're installing an upgraded drive shaft on my 2014 Silverado. So we are once again modifying the 2014, and today is drive shaft day. So the reason we're upgrading this, if you guys don't know, a lot of the drive shafts on Silverados are prone to failure if you exceed around 100 miles an hour. So my truck is actually factory limited there. It won't let me go beyond that because if you do, you risk splitting your drive shaft in half. Now I want to upgrade this because I want to get accurate dyno numbers, and the most accurate dyno pool is in 4th gear. With the stock drive shaft, most dyno shops will not let you do a 4th gear pull because you exceed 100 miles an hour. You risk having your drive shaft blow up, injuring people, and that's not a good day. So we are upgrading our drive shaft to a drive shaft from Driveline Performance. This is a high horsepower drive shaft. I'll have their information linked down in the description. They were super helpful. It came in pretty quick. Another drive shaft shop that's pretty good if you're interested is the Driveshaft shop. However, they had a much longer wait time and also needed a lot of custom measurements, which are okay. But since my truck is at the stock ride height and everything, I just needed a standard drive shaft. Driveline Performance already had all those measurements and everything. I just told them what my truck was, the engine, the drivetrain configuration, and they sent me over a drive shaft. So let's get this put on. So as you guys can see, it already comes with universal joints on both ends of the drive shaft, which is super convenient. All we have to do is unbolt the stock drive shaft, remove those retainer clips. Now it is recommended that you replace your retainer clips as well as the bolts that hold in the drive shaft, and we'll have those linked down in the description for you guys. Might as well upgrade it. You don't want those breaking and having your drive shaft fall out. All right, so we're at the back of the truck at the rear differential, and we're gonna disconnect the 4 11mm bolts that hold the drive shaft into the differential. Now it's actually pretty hard to get on these bolts at the back here just because of the drive shaft and this little retaining clip. So what I actually found works the best here is a wobble extension. We'll have these linked, so this lets it like wobble around. The swivel adapters that I have for the sockets actually didn't work here. They were hitting the drive shaft still. So you'll either need a swivel 11 that's built into the swivel that's really thin. You don't want something too thick. This is a 1/4 inch, or this wobble extension, which in this case I think is going to work well for us. Make sure that your truck is secure when you're working on it. We have it jacked up so that we can rotate the tires. Right now I have the e-brake on so that I can break these bolts free without the drive shaft rotating. Hit all these with some PB Blaster, but they should not be in here that tight. You can see how easily that one just came out. Hopefully they all are that way for me. Yep, they are. Now in an ideal world, you'd be able just to push your drive shaft into the transfer case and it would just come right out. However, 120,000 miles later and lots of corrosion, this thing is usually going to be frozen into this rear universal. So we're going to hit it, pry it, whatever we have to do to get it out of here.
Let me close it out.
Thank you.
Probably, oh, can you get the hammer too? Oh, nice.
All right.
That scared the crap out of me.
So we thought that was going to be way worse, and the reason why is we actually had to do this on my Camaro. We had to do a motor swap on that car, and the drive shaft took so much effort to get out. So that was nice. I'm glad that came out easy. All right, so I'm going to hold this here. I'm going to shimmy up. Probably a good time to have a friend, but these are actually very light because they're made out of aluminum. The new one's a little heavier because the aluminum's thicker. Alright. Alright. There you go, there's your drive shaft. That actually wasn't bad. I thought that was gonna be worse. Alright, so here are the two drive shafts side by side, and you can immediately tell where the universals bolt in, much beefier. The stock drive shaft tapers in a lot at the end. You do not have that here. It's full width the whole way. So one thing, universals on mine still seem pretty good. Here, these are definitely spinning like pretty easily, whereas the new ones here are very stiff, much harder to spin. But like in this direction, it's still pretty tight. And I compared the front, and the new one to the old one is pretty comparable. So my universals were still good as far as I can tell, but definitely a much beefier drive shaft that we're upgrading to here. Now, one thing I do want to note is the Driveline Performance drive shaft that I have here is not speed rated. They actually haven't done measurements on that. They have it rated at horsepower load. So they said it should definitely be able to handle the horsepower, or the speeds rather, but they haven't done testing. Now, they did say they have had a lot of people asking about it because of the issue that I've had with my Silverado, so they do plan to speed test it at some point. So by the time you buy it, it may be speed tested, but just keep that in mind. Now you'll see that some nice bright red fluid came out when we pulled out the drive shaft. So I'm gonna just coat the inside of these splines with a little bit of automatic transmission fluid. Make sure you're using the right kind for your particular vehicle. I like to use AMSOIL. Coat that. So we got the new drive shaft here. And we're gonna put this into the output shaft of the transfer case. There it goes. So we got that slid in, nice and easy. All right, we got our new parts, and we'll have, again, these listed down in the description. These are recommended that you replace these. They come pre-installed with some Loctite on the threads already. Now on this drive shaft, because the ends don't taper down, you can't actually use that swivel or wobble extension that I had. However, if you have a very thin ratchet like this one, you can get in there. Now if you need more room, rotate your drive shaft around so that it opens up more on the bottom here so you can get your wrench in there. Now we threw the e-brake back on, and I have a really thin torque wrench. Torque spec down in the description, and just kind of torque them evenly so don't go getting one side completely tight and then doing the other one. You want to kind of tighten them together at the same time. And like I said, rotate the drive shaft around because you'll open up the bottom space here more and be able to get a thin torque wrench in here. We'll have this one linked. This one just manages to get up to the torque spec. All right, there we go. All right, guys, the drive shaft is fully swapped over. Very quick and easy job. Definitely something you can do yourself with an 11mm socket. Now we can take the truck and go get our dyno number. So again, now with this upgraded drive shaft, we can do full dyno pulls in 4th gear, and we don't have to worry about the drive shaft blowing up. So we're gonna go get some dyno numbers with the truck, with the stock components, so the stock air intake, the stock air intake manifold, as well as the throttle body. And then if you watched our last 2 videos, you know that we have an air rate intake, as well as the upgraded 6.2 intake manifold and 6.2 throttle body. We're gonna be putting each of those back into the truck separately. So we actually filmed it, removed them, and then we're gonna put them back in so we can get some numbers for you guys on the dyno, see if those upgrades are actually worthwhile and how much better they let the truck breathe. So definitely tune back into the channel to check those videos out. Big thanks to EFX Tuning for helping us out with the tuning of this truck. We'll see you guys back here next time.